Hi, welcome back for a bonus video to my Canon D tutorial series for piano beginners. If you're here, you've probably already seen the rest of my tutorial series where we learn to play a complete rendition of Canon D that was suitable for total beginners to piano. In today's video, we are going to explore an optional, more advanced ending for those of you who want to learn the beloved soaring melody that Canon D is so famous for. I created this bonus video because so many of you asked if I could help you learn this specific part. So thank you for reaching out and helping me make this tutorial series the best it can be. This melody is faster and more complicated than anything we've learned in this series so far. So it's understandable if you're feeling a little bit intimidated. But I want to encourage you that if you feel even remotely inspired by the possibility of playing this one day, to please follow along. I'm going to break this melody down step by step in a way that will make it much easier to learn and remember. So you may be pleasantly surprised by how much you can pick up, even if you are a true beginner to piano. I'm also going to divide this melody into 4 clear sections so that if you need to take a break, you can find your place again very easily. But even if this melody is beyond your skill level right now, you can learn a lot just by following along and seeing how we take a complicated melody and break it down into its smaller pieces. Maybe you could just try one hand at a time or one section. However you decide to engage this video, you are totally welcome here. If you're brand new to the series and want to catch up on everything we've learned about Canon D so far, I'll link the complete tutorial series in the description of this video. But in today's video, we are just going to focus on that famous soaring melody. So if you're ready, then let's head to our pianos and get started. So first things first, let's get you oriented to my piano. Because this melody is played with my right hand, I'm focusing my camera higher up on my piano. Here is middle C for your reference. Let's start our first section of the song by placing our 5th finger on a high A. That's 2 A's above middle C. This is our first note in the melody. After we play this A, we are going to play a short sequence where we skip down to an F sharp and then step back up to the A. Okay, so that will be after the A, F sharp, G, A. Okay, and we are going to play that sequence twice. So it will sound like this: A, F sharp, G, A, F sharp, G, A. You want to try that with me? A, F sharp, G, A, F sharp, G, A. Good stuff. Okay, so now we've landed back on our A, right? The next thing we're going to do after landing back on this A is to reach down an octave to our next A down here, okay? So this A is going to be just 1 A above middle C, okay? And reaching down to this A is going to set off a sequence where we are going to play every note in order until we reach the G, okay? So let me show you what that will look like. So my thumb has reached the lower A, which means my 2nd finger is available for the B. My 3rd finger is perfectly placed here for the C sharp. But now, if you're familiar with scales, you'll know that if we keep using each finger in a row, we're going to run out of fingers by the time we get to this G, right? So to make sure we have enough fingers, we need to tuck our 1st finger under for the next note, D, which leaves my 2nd finger available for the E. My 3rd finger, again, is the perfect length to get that black key, F sharp. And my 4th finger is now available for our last note, G. Okay, so let me show you what that scale is going to look like when we play it smoothly, okay? So I'm going to pretend I'm reaching down to the A, B, C sharp, tuck for the D, E, F sharp, G. Fantastic. Would you like to try that with me? Let's try it together. Ready? A, B, C sharp, tuck for D, E, F sharp, G. Fantastic. Good stuff. Okay, try that scale through a few times until it feels smooth for you. What I'd like to do next is to just go back and to review everything we've learned so far and tie it all together. So let me just run through for you one more time, just to remind you of what we learned, and then we'll try it all together, okay? So to review, we started with our fifth finger on a high A. We played the high A and then did this sequence where we skipped down and stepped back up twice, all right? Good. Then an octave down, and then played every note in order until we reached the G, okay? So let's try that one more time, okay? From the beginning, ready? A, F sharp, G, A, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F, G. Fantastic, really, really well done. So that's the first section of our melody. Take a minute to pause here and practice that sequence if you need to feel comfortable. When you're ready, let's move on to the second part. So at the end of our last section, we landed with our fourth finger on G. To start our next sequence, we are going to move down a step to the F sharp. So that should be with your third finger. And we're going to borrow the same sequence from earlier, where we're going to play our note, skip down, and step back up to our original note, okay? Let me show you what that looks like. Ready? F sharp, D, E, F sharp, okay? Can you see how that's kind of the same pattern that we did before? Before we were playing A, F sharp, G, A. Now we're playing F sharp, D, E, F sharp. Awesome, good stuff. Okay, so we're borrowing the same movement, but just playing it a little bit lower down the piano. Neat, huh? Okay, instead of playing this sequence twice in a row like we did at the beginning of the piece, we are only going to play this stepping sequence in this position just once. The second time we do the stepping sequence, we are going to actually jump down an octave to this F sharp and then do the second stepping sequence from here, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. So our starting note is F sharp. We're going to skip down and do our stepping sequence once, D, E, F sharp. Then we're going to reach down here and do the second stepping sequence from here, F sharp, G, A. Okay, let's try that one more time. And I am going to recommend that you use finger 2 when you're reaching down for this F sharp. That should feel the most natural, okay? So let's try that again. So F sharp, D, E, F sharp, F sharp, G, A. Fantastic. Very well done. Excellent. Now let me squeeze one tiny other little thing in here. After you play this second stepping sequence, at the end, we're going to add just a tiny little tail to it, okay? So that after this A, we're going to play a note above the A, back to A, below the A, and back to the A again, okay? Let me show you that again. So from this A, above, return, below, return. Okay, let me show you what that looks like if we don't stop. So we're going to do our stepping sequence and then above, return, below, return. Okay, let me show you that one more time without talking. Fantastic. Okay, can you try that with me from here at this F sharp? Good stuff. Okay, why don't we back up and try what we've learned just from the start of this section, section 2, where we started up here on this F sharp. Let me run through what we've covered and then we'll try it all together, okay? So we started with our 3 on F sharp, did our stepping sequence once, jumped down an octave for stepping sequence 2, and then added our little tail. Okay, let me show you that one more time without talking. Good, good, fantastic. And then the very last piece of this section is going to be so easy for you. When you finish that tail, you're just going to repeat that last stepping sequence that you just did, F sharp, G, and A. So we're going to do that that stepping sequence again. Okay, let me show you that. Let me show you that again. So after you finish the tail, and then you'll do the stepping sequence again. Okay, let's try that from the beginning of the section. So starting with your 3rd finger on F sharp. Fantastic, really well done, really well done. Okay, to help us remember everything that we've learned, I'd love to go back to the very beginning of this melody and review everything we've learned so far, sections 1 and 2. Let me show you how it sounds when we play these 2 sections together without stopping, okay? And then if you think you're ready, we can try them through together, okay? So we started with our 5th finger on a high A. Okay, so stepping sequence 1, stepping sequence 2, octave, and then the scale. And then we went to finger 3 on F sharp, stepping sequence 1, jumped down to the octave, stepping sequence 2, added the tail. And then the sequence again. Awesome, good stuff. Okay, would you like to try that with me? Ready? 5th finger on A. Fantastic, really well done, really well done. Well, believe it or not, we've reached the halfway point of this famous melody. How do you feel so far? Has this been easy for you to pick up, or at least easier than you expected? I really hope so. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you quickly. It might be good for you to pause the video here and get really familiar with what we've learned so far. Whenever you feel ready, let's keep moving and look at section 3. So in our last section, we left off with the stepping sequence F sharp, G, A. So you should have ended with your 4th finger on A. We're going to start our next section by stepping down to G with our 3rd finger. And then we're going to do something interesting. We are going to borrow that original pattern of skipping and then stepping back to our original note. But this time we are going to skip up instead of down and then step back down to land on the G again. Okay, so that's going to look like this. G, B, A, G. Okay, can you try that with me? G, B, A, G. Good, fantastic. And then to finish off this movement, after we've landed and rested on this G for a minute, we are just going to keep traveling down our hand until we reach our thumb. So that's F sharp with your 2 and E with your 1st. Okay, so let me just show you that one more time. So starting with G, skipping and stepping, And now just keep going down to the bottom of your hand. Okay, can you try that with me? Fantastic, good stuff. Okay, now that we've gotten to the bottom of your hand, we have a really fun sequence that is all steps. From our thumb on E, let's tuck our third finger in a little bit to this F sharp. And what we're going to do is play every note in order, going down to our thumb and back up to our F sharp, like this. So I started here, I'm tucking. Okay, when we get back up to this F sharp, we are going to tuck our thumb and play fingers 1, 2, and 3 again. Okay, so this section is really heavy on the fingers 1, 2, and 3. Let me run through that one more time. We're going to tuck your third finger to the F sharp, play all the way down to your thumb, back up to your F sharp, and then tuck again and keep going to your third finger again. Okay, let me show you that one more time without talking. Okay, would you like to try that with me? So from the 3 on F sharp, we're going to go all the way down, coming back up, tuck, and ending with finger 3 again. Okay, good stuff. All right. Okay, we've learned a lot in this section. So let's go back and just review what we've learned so that we can bring these little pieces of this section together. Let me run through this just to remind you what we've covered. So we started with our third finger on G. We did our sequence in reverse so that we skipped up and stepped down. Rested here for a second, kept going all the way down to our thumb. And then we tucked our third finger into the F sharp so we could travel all the way down to the D and come back up, tucking under again and ending with our third finger on B. Okay? Let me show you that one more time without me talking, and then we can try it together. Okay? Good, good. Okay, are you ready to try it with me? Let's try that one more time. Good, good stuff. So that was the third section. I kind of feel like that went by a lot faster than in previous sections. I don't know if you agree with me. Maybe it feels different on your side of the screen. But before we go any further, I do think we should look at linking the 3 sections that we've learned so far. So let me show you that. We started with our 5th finger on high A, played our stepping sequence twice, went to our octave and scale, stopping at the G, stepping down to F sharp, doing 1 stepping sequence here, then jumping down an octave, doing the 2nd stepping sequence here, added our tail, add that sequence one more time, good. Now we're stepping down to G, reverse, skipping and stepping down, good. Coming all the way down to our thumb, tucking our 3rd finger, coming back down to our thumb, back up, tuck the thumb, ending up on B. Okay. Let me show you that one more time without me talking. You're welcome to try it along with me, okay? Fantastic, fantastic, really well done. Okay, well that's the end of section 3. We are 3/4 of the way done this melody. Again, I recommend to pause the video here, practice this through a few times. We have just one more section to go, but I think you'll be able to concentrate on that section better if you don't rush through and really make sure that you're comfortable with everything that came before it. Whenever you feel ready, let's move on to the fourth and final section. So we ended our last phrase with our third finger on B. So I'm just gonna hold my finger here. Section 4 starts almost the same way as section 3 did. If you'll recall, section 3 started with us playing G, skipping up and stepping back down to G, right? In this section, we are going to play the G. This time it falls under our first finger. We'll skip up again and start to step down, but surprise, we are going to go against the tradition of this pattern. And instead of stepping all the way back down to G, we're going to reverse course and step up instead to land on the B again. Let me show you that one more time. Oh, fantastic. This little change in the melody is such an important and powerful emotional shift in this piece because the listener expects the melody to keep going down, right? And I've talked in other videos about how downward movement in classical music conveys a feeling of safety or of returning home. Moving up the piano conveys a feeling of exploration, of adventuring away from home. I can link to one of the videos where I talk about that if you'd like to hear more about it. But when we started this pattern, the listener expects a feeling of resolution, right? They are not expecting us to move up the piano again. And so by moving up the piano instead, we give our listener a feeling of exploration and expansiveness that they weren't expecting. So in this fraction of a heartbeat, the music conveys a sense of unexpected adventure, unexpected going out. And I just love how powerful this seemingly tiny little change of one note can be. Oh, amazing. I love it. Okay, let me show you that one more time. So our last section ended with our third finger on B. So from this B, we're going to jump down to our G, skip up, step down, and then up again, okay? Now from here, we're going to continue to follow the upward movement and keep going and keep moving up our fingers to finger 5. So let's C sharp with our 4 and then D with our 5, okay? Let me just show you that one more time. Good stuff. Want to try that with me? Good stuff. Okay, and now for our grand finale. This part is so satisfying to play. We are going to tuck our thumb onto A and play every note in order from this A all the way to the high A. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. My thumb, I've placed it on A, which means my second finger is there for B. My third finger is in perfect placement for that C sharp. But now, again, we are going to have to tuck our thumb so we don't run out of fingers, okay? So tucking our first finger under for the D. Good stuff. Keep going. The second finger is available for E. My third finger, again, perfectly placed for the F sharp. My fourth finger is available for the G. And my last baby finger, finger 5, is available for that last note, A. Okay, let me just show you that scale one more time. Fantastic. Okay, would you like to try that with me? Fantastic. Okay. So then if we bring both parts of this section together, I think you'll see how emotionally powerful it is. Okay, so to recap, We started with our first finger on G. We skipped up, started to step down, but changed direction in our stepping, kept going up to our 5. Then we tucked into A, and then did the scale all the way up to the high A. Okay, let me show you that again with no talking. Oh, I just love that. Okay, would you like to try that with me? Let's just do that one more time. Fantastic. Okay. Oh, this just sounds so lovely. I just love it. Okay, take a minute to pause here and practice this section if you need to. As you might have guessed, now I'd like to go back to the beginning and to break all 4 sections together. So if you feel ready for that, let's get into it. By this point, I don't think you need me to describe all the steps of these different sections again. So what I'll do is just a playthrough for you. First, I'll go through the whole sequence really slowly. Try to notice all the little mini patterns that we've been learning. And if you're comfortable, maybe try playing along. After I've gone through it slowly, I'll do it one more time a little bit faster for those of you who would like to play along with a bit more of a challenge. Okay? Okay, let's try it slowly first. Fantastic. Oh, that is so beautiful. Okay, now let's try it a little bit faster. Ready? Wonderful, wonderful, really beautiful. I hope that you have been enjoying this and that you're having success in following along. Now, the last time that I played this, that was considerably faster than anything else that we've played together, okay? So if you find that challenging, that would be totally understandable. Please don't get discouraged. Play this at whatever pace you feel comfortable with. The important thing is that you enjoy yourself and that you enjoy playing this melody. Speed and fluidity, that just comes with time. The important thing is to enjoy yourself and to love what you're playing. So the last thing that we need to talk about today is how to bring in the left hand. So let me adjust my camera so we can see the lower half of my piano and then we'll get started. Okay, welcome back. I have pulled back my camera a bit so you can see more of my piano. Here is middle C for your reference. Let's take a minute to talk about where this new melody is going to fit in our song so that we can decide which left hand pattern to use it. Typically, this melody is played later in the song because it is the true emotional peak of this piece. And if you've been following along with the rest of the videos in this tutorial series, you'll remember that we slowly built up the complexity and the intensity of our piece, and that our emotional peak thus far has been the top, bottom, middle, bottom, right hand pattern with octave left hands like this. Okay, and so on. I'm going to suggest that we plan for our new melody to come in right after this top, bottom, middle, bottom pattern, and that we continue to use the octave left hand for this section. Okay, how does that sound? I'm going to trust that you remember your left hand octave pattern. If you need a refresher, or for those of you who are just joining us today for the first time, you can find that octave left hand pattern in part 4 of this series, which is linked in the description, okay? If you ever wanted to try a different left hand pattern, this tutorial could still be useful to you. For example, if you just decided that you wanted to only play a single left hand note with the melody, you can watch how I line up the first note of these octaves, okay? And if you decided that you wanted to play maybe the left hand pattern of fifths instead, like we discussed earlier, you can still use this tutorial to show you when to line up your second note, but you would just substitute your fifth there instead of the higher octave when I talk about that. Okay, so hopefully you feel there's lots of flexibility here. But yes, let's get started. And again, let's break this down into manageable pieces. Let's go through the 4 sections we just learned. In section 1, it just so happens that your first 3 left-hand notes, that's low D, octave D, and low A, each of those 3 notes come in every time your right hand plays finger 5. So let me show you this, okay? Let me just demonstrate. Ready? Isn't that handy? Do you want to try that with me? Let's get our hands ready. So getting octave Ds in our left hand and a high A in our right hand, okay? So first we're going to play that low D in our left hand with our high A in our right hand. Then we'll do our right hand stepping sequence. And as we're about to play our 5th finger, we'll get ready to play our left hand octave. Good. And then when we're playing the 2nd sequence, we're going to use this time to move our left hand down to reach the low A, like that. Okay? Can you do that? Let's give this a try. Ready? So D and A, octave D and A, good. Moving down to a low A and A. Okay? Let's try that a few more times. Ready? Good stuff. Just one more time. Good stuff. Very well done. Okay. Next after this, we have a scale happening in our right hand, right? Okay. Well, very conveniently, the next left hand note, which is the octave A, which is played with your left hand first finger, this is going to happen at the same time that your right hand first finger tucks under and plays. So you'll be preparing to play both of your first fingers at the same time. Okay, so just let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm doing a high octave, coming down to the octave, and playing my first fingers together. Okay, let me show you what that looks like if we combine both of these parts, okay? So resetting to octave Ds with a high A up here. So we'll start at the top. Good, and now I'm gonna tuck and play my first fingers together. Okay, can you try that with me? Fantastic, really, really well done. Okay, that's the left hand and right hand for section 1. So again, if you need to, pause the video here, try that through a few times until it feels really good and comfortable. When you're ready to move on, let's keep going. So section 2 has your right hand starting on F sharp with finger 3, and your left hand notes are going to be octave Bs, okay? In this section, each of these notes are going to come in whenever your right hand plays finger 3. Can I show you this? Okay, one more time. Good. Now after this, the right hand is going to jump down to a lower F sharp, and in this part, the left hand actually also goes down to octave F sharps. And these two notes are going to come in when the right hand plays finger 4, okay? But we have to be careful which ones because the right hand is going to play a lot of 4s. Let me show you the sequence. So this is the part where we're doing the stepping sequence, and then we're doing the tail, and then that stepping sequence again, right? So we've just played our fourth finger a bunch of times. Let's just count how many times we're playing that, okay? The finger 4. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So we play finger 4 4 times with this, right? To bring in our left hand, we are only going to play the left hand the first and the third times that the right hand plays finger 4, okay? Let me show you this really slowly. So we've jumped down to our octave. This is the first time we're going to play finger 4, so the bottom note comes in. We're going to skip the second time. Now the third time is when we play the top F sharp again, okay? Can I show you that again? Good, good. Let's do this one more time. See if you can play along with me. Good, good. Really well done. Okay, I wonder if we could iron this section out before we move on. Let's reset so that our right hand is starting with the F sharp with finger 3, and your left hand note is your left hand Bs are gonna come in when the right hand plays finger 3. So like this. We're gonna jump, and now the left hand's gonna come in with our 4s, right? First time we play the 4, third time we play the 4. Good, good stuff. Okay, let me show you that again. Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, take some time to iron that out if you need to. Next, I'm gonna go right back to the beginning and hear what this sounds like all the way through sections 1 and 2, hands together. So back to our starting positions, octave Ds in your left hand and high A in your right hand. Okay, let's try this nice and slowly. Fantastic. Wow, this is really coming together. I hope that you can see how all these little patterns kind of come together and make learning this piece a little bit less complicated. Believe it or not, we have already reached the halfway point through our melody. So again, take time to pause the video, practice this through as many times as you need and as slowly as you need. The most important thing here is not how fast you can play this, but how well you understand what you need to do. So please take whatever time you need to understand this really well. Whenever you're ready to move on, let's keep going. Section 3 is actually quite simple compared to what we just learned. Your next 4 left-hand notes, that's the octaves of G and D. they come in the next 4 times that your right hand plays finger 3. Okay, so they attach nice and easy. Let me show you what that looks like. So your right hand starts with the 3 on G. That means that your left hand is going to come in with its first note, also G. Your right hand skips and steps back down. It's going to play that 3rd finger again. So that's when we're going to bring in our left hand. Good. And we're going to play our 3rd finger again. This is when our left hand comes in with a D. And we're about to play our 3rd finger again. So here comes our next D. Good. Okay, let me show you that one more time. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very well done. Okay, want to try that with me? Let's do this together. So left hand is on octave G's, right hand is starting 3rd finger on G. Ready? Good stuff. Good stuff. Really well done. Okay. Maybe we should back up and try the whole thing through from the beginning. Let's go back and play through the whole thing slowly, okay? Let's reset to our octave Ds in our left hand and right hand 5th finger on high A, okay? Let's just go through it. Really nice. Very, very well done. Okay, we are so close to the end of this melody. Whenever you're ready, let's keep going. For the last section, I have to be honest, there aren't really any easy fingering coincidences the way that there were for previous sections. So we might have to learn the section based more on vibe than anything else. Let me show you what I mean. Section 4 starts like this. Remember? So there is a bit of a pattern here when it comes to the rhythm, where we hold a few of these notes a little bit longer than the others, right? Let me show you what I mean. So like hold, hold. Okay? So our next 2 left-hand notes, the octave G's, they come in, each of them come in on one of the notes that we hold in our right hand, like this, okay? Hold, hold. Okay, let me show you that again. Okay, can you try that with me? Good stuff. Okay. And then the very last part of this melody is the scale that starts on A and goes all the way up to the top. So our left hand is also going to play octave A's, and we're going to divide them evenly across this scale. So this scale, let's count how many notes long it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So to split this scale in half, your left hand lower A is going to come in for the first 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the higher A comes in for the last 4 notes, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, does that make sense? Let me show you that again. Can you try that with me? So resetting to A's in both hands. Good stuff. Okay, great. All right, if that makes sense, then let's back it up and combine these 2 pieces. First, we started with G's in both hands. So the left hand came in on each of the notes that we held a little bit longer for this first section. Let me show you. And then we moved into the scale and divided the octave A's between those 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let me back up and show that to you one more time. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, would you like to try that with me? Let's back up. So starting on G's. Fantastic, amazing, really well done. Okay, that brings us through all 4 of our sections. Let's back it up and try it all the way from the beginning, nice and slow, okay? Okay, then let's back it up all the way and try running through all 4 sections in a row, hands together. I suggest we run through this twice. First, I'll go through it slowly so you have a chance to practice integrating everything that you've learned. Then I'll go through it again a bit faster so that you can practice playing this at a pace that might be more up to speed with the rest of how you've been playing the Canon so far. Okay, so first, let's try it nice and slowly. Beautiful. Oh, I just love that so much. Okay, now let's try speeding it up a little. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. Okay, so now that we have learned how to play this melody all the way through, hands together, the next step is for us to learn how we can incorporate this melody into the rest of the Canon in D piece that we've learned together. So next up, let's try a full playthrough of the entire Canon in D that we've learned together from start to finish, incorporating this new melody. As always, let's get our playing patterns up on the screen so we can keep track of where we are in this piece. Now, to remind you, the lighter blue color means that we are playing those lines softly, and the darker the color blue means the more intensity or the more volume that we are going to play those particular lines. Now, earlier in this video, I recommended that we add our melody after the top, bottom, middle, bottom pattern. So that's where I fit it in now. Also, for a sense of balance and to really let us linger in the emotional peak of this melody, I'm suggesting that we play through our new melody twice. So that's why I have our new melody listed there twice. After our new melody, we'll close the piece as we did before, quieting to 2 right-hand notes with left-hand octaves, and then finishing off with just 1 note in each hand, gently, before we finally come to rest on Ds. Okay? Instead of counting us in like I usually do, I'm going to use a metronome to lead us in. I'll set the metronome to play 4 beats that will demonstrate the pace at which I'm going to play. For those of you who are curious, I will be using a setting of 80 beats per minute, where each beat represents a quarter note. Okay, so let's give this a try. Fantastic work, everyone, and congratulations on all the effort you've put into following this tutorial series. Whether you just watched or played along, learned a few sections or many, I hope that you've enjoyed the time that we've spent at our pianos together. This melody is by far the most complex thing we've explored on this channel together. And I really hope that you've been able to integrate at least some part of this learning into your piano journey. Some of you may be interested to know that I have sheet music for this arrangement of Canon in D available on my website. I did my best to plan this tutorial series so that you don't need any sheet music and could learn just by following along with these videos if that's all you wanted. But if you feel that you could be supported by having sheet music, I'll add a link to that in the description section and also in a pinned comment so that it's easy for you to find. Thank you again so much for joining me in this tutorial series. It's been so fun to put together, and I'm truly honored to be part of your learning journey. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have fun at your piano this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.